in-depth, investigative. This is KXAN News Today.
Good morning. We are quickly approaching the end of the year, and it's still looking to be a very Texas, right? I was going to say, are we ever going to make it feel like winter, please?
Wednesday.
Okay. Well, we're happy.
The first day of the new year.
We're happy to wrap up the end of the year with you. I'm Erica Brennis.
And I'm Jayla Washington. Yeah, Rich is here to break everything down for us. I mean, you know what? I was just in the Midwest for the holidays, and it was rather cold and rainy, so I'll take it. I'll take it today here in Texas.
We look at a potential record for a high today, too. 80s. It's t-shirts and shorts weather.
It is.
All right, let's head over to the coffee shop right now. We are open for business with a clear sky. And right now in Austin, it is 52 degrees. We should be in the 40s for this time of the day. 39 at Llano, a few 50s, a few 40s. It's, again, a warmer than normal start for the majority of our viewing area. Llano is close to its actual normal right now. We have a south to southwest wind and more of a southwest wind expected later on this morning into the afternoon. That's a warming wind, and that means temperatures will scoot on up into the 80s as we get into the early and mid-afternoon hours. But we've got another cold front that's heading to the area, and it should get here sometime tonight. One last heat record for 2024. There's a wildfire danger today, too. We'll talk about that, and we'll bring in the new year for you when I spell it correctly here in First Morning Weather. All right, back to you.
He has done more good for the world since he served as president than any previous president in history. He set an example for all of us who feel we have an obligation to help our neighbors.
He was what I would describe as a closest thing to a Renaissance man in the modern presidency.
Renaissance man, I love that. Well, those are just some of the words shared about former President Jimmy Carter, who passed away yesterday at the age of 100.
The recipient of a Nobel Peace Prize, Carter was most well known for his humanitarian work after his presidency. Our Daniel Marine has some highlights from one of his last visits to Austin.
The 39th President of the United States, the Honorable Jimmy Carter.
A frequent visitor to the LBJ Library, Mr. Carter returned there in April of 2014 for a summit on civil rights. He recalled growing up in segregated Plains, Georgia.
And we were the only white family who lived there. My father was a farmer, and we were surrounded by 55 other families who were African American. And all of my playmates, all of my companions in the field, the ones that I hunted with and fished with, wrestled with, fought with, loved, were black people. And so my life was really shaped, perhaps as much as any other white American who ever lived, by a black culture.
As an adult, the Georgia peanut farmer paid a price for his views.
We had boycotts against my business, and I remember one time I drove up in front of the only service station in Plains, and they refused to put gasoline in my car because they considered us to be, I won't use the word, lovers of black people. And so we struggled through that.
In his final years, Mr. Carter was a Sunday school teacher at his Baptist church in Plains. He shared his views on gay marriage with the Austin audience.
I believe in what St. Paul wrote to the Galatians. He said there's no difference between people in the eyes of God. There's no difference between men and women. There's no difference between Jews and Gentiles. There's no difference between servants and masters. And I don't believe there's a difference between people because of their sexual orientation. And I hope that they...
After leaving office in 1981, Mr. Carter also sought to focus attention on modern-day problems that rarely get significant news coverage.
Slavery, at this moment, is greater than it ever was in the 19th century.
Well into his 90s, Mr. Carter's views stayed clear and relevant.
We have a lot of young people in the audience, mostly from the University of Texas. What would you say to young folks who, like you, want to make a difference in the world?
We must accommodate changing times, but cling to principles that never change. And I think that's the best philosophy I know in one sentence.
Mr. President, I would like to thank you for all you have done to bring peace to our world. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here.
Daniel Marin, KXAN News.
Wow, what a remarkable guy.
Truly.
I mean, incredible. President Biden says the state funeral for Carter will be held on January 9th alongside a national day of mourning. Current and past presidents also took a moment to address Carter's passing.
You know, Jimmy Carter stands as a model of what it means to live a life of meaning and purpose, life of principle, faith, and humility.
Former President Obama extended his condolences to Carter's family as well, saying, quote, "He taught all of us what it means to live a life of grace, dignity, justice, and service. His memory calling all of us to heed our better angels."
Meanwhile, President-elect Donald Trump posted a statement reading, "The challenges Jimmy faced as president came up as a pivotal time for our country, and he did everything in his power to improve the lives of all Americans. For that, we all owe him a debt of gratitude." Former President George W. Bush said in a statement, quote, "His efforts to leave behind a better world did not end with his presidency. His work with Habitat for Humanity and the Carter Center set an example of service that will inspire Americans for generations."
Well, the impact of the work with Habitat for Humanity that President Bush mentioned continues right here in Travis County. The Rosalind and Jimmy Carter project is set to help with construction on the Whisper Valley development in the eastern part of the county next year. According to Habitat for Humanity, Whisper Valley is meant to be the first geothermal neighborhood in the entire country, meaning that homes will feature geothermal heat pumps as well as solar panels and will be designed to generate more energy than they consume. Habitat is launching the work project in October of next year. And those driving in and around Austin know a lot about local highways from I-35 to Mopac. I'm a Mopac girly. Roadways, though, some of them have double names and are also called loops.
A little confusing. We like to keep you on your toes here in Austin, but if you actually look at a map, you'll notice that not every loop actually loops around a given area. Here's how they get away with that. Well, under the Texas Department of Transportation's Highway Designation Glossary, a state highway loop is a bypass that links two or more highways. Several highways in Austin have dual names, such as Loop 360, also going by the capital of Texas Highway, and then you have Loop 1 doubling as Mopac, a homage to the former Missouri Pacific Railroad, by the way. Loop 360 links up with Mopac, U.S. Highway 183 and Highway 290, while Mopac bridges the northern and southern segments of State Highway 45. Welcome back. We're getting footage of damage left behind by tornadoes that touched down near Houston. Multiple homes were destroyed when a tornado touched down between Alvin and Liverpool. According to a spokesperson from the Brazoria County Sheriff's Office, one person died in the Liverpool area, and 4 people suffered injuries that were not considered critical. At this time, officials are still working to determine the extent of that tornado damage.
And out west, all of this dry weather is raising concerns as the Texas Division of Emergency Management announced the agency has activated additional state wildfire response resources. This is ahead of increased wildfire danger expected all across the western half of the state today. More than 160 firefighters and support personnel, as well as 35 pieces of equipment like fire engines and bulldozers, are set to help, alongside 9 firefighting aircraft.
Welcome back and good morning, Georgetown. A live look at I-35 where it is very quiet. Hopefully you're going to have a quiet commute today. I know some of you will be trickling back into the office off and on this week, but hopefully you had a nice restful weekend.
You've been here for days, Erica. No time off.
I know. Well, it's like a couple days off and then back, and then a couple days off and then back. So I'm like, what day is it?
What day is it?
It is
I don't know.
Monday.
All right, Monday, got it.
December 30th. Facts right there. Dementia affects millions of people and families across the country, and there's a new tool being used for early detection. Researchers at the Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center developed a test called a SAGE test, which has people solve various problems. A doctor at the hospital says the test can be taken with a pen and paper, good old-fashioned way, or digitally. He says it's been a game changer in detecting early signs of Alzheimer's and dementia.
It was designed to pick up people with the very earliest changes of cognitive impairments. So the new medications that are now available for things like Alzheimer's disease only work in the early stages of the condition. So it's even more critical than ever to identify people at an early stage so that there are more options for treatments.
A recent study has found that the test is an effective tool for primary care doctors. The study found 86% of those doctors recommend others in the field also use that test.
Well, it was a big year for the world, not just in politics and history, but also pop culture. All right, to name a few of the year's biggest moments, Erica, this one's for you. T. Swift drops her album Tortured Poets Department, and this one's for me. Beyonce stamped her mark in country with her album Cowboy Carter. The summer was taken over by the Paris Olympics.
Also for you.
Also for you.
Wow, cannot believe that was just a few short months ago.
Yeah.
And the year closes out with the box office smash hit Wicked, which I still have yet to see.
You know, it comes out on streaming tomorrow.
Great.
So
I'm more of a streaming girl.
I would imagine tomorrow is like the buy it at home for $30, which we will be doing immediately.
Yeah.
I would imagine that there are some theaters out there saying, I wish they would not stream it yet because it gets people in there.
Yeah.
I've seen it twice in the theater.
Really?
So I did my part.
Okay. Well, I'm going to be in my sweatpants watching it on
We will
the couch.
immediately watch it tomorrow. Yeah, once we can buy it.
You want to watch it, Rich?
Sure.
It's so good.
I'll get my
There is
sweatpants on
something
too.
to be said to see it in the theater. The
Just
closing
the
scene.
And,
Once you see the closing scene, you'll be like, oh, I can see how that would be different in a theater.
Were you a
versus
singer in the theater, or?
No.
Some people were. I don't know.
I mean, quietly maybe, but at home.
Not blasting it. Yeah.
At home.
The volume is turned up to 10. All right. Let's take a live look from the Austonian. Nice and dark and clear, too. Temperatures mostly in the 40s and 50s this morning, and we will warm rapidly later on today. But one of the components in our forecast today is this, our last red flag warning for 2024. You know, we normally see these in the spring and the early summer, but today, especially for the Western Hill Country, San Saba, Llano, Gillespie, and Mason counties, the red flag warning goes into effect from noon until 6. This is a wildfire danger. It's brought about by gusty winds, southwest to west 10 to 20 with gusts up to 25 plus, and the humidity with that dry wind flow, the humidity levels will fall to perhaps as low as 15% and lower. And so there are concerns not only there, but I think for the entire area, because we are just so dry, haven't had a whole lot of rain in December. But for those 4 counties, again, Gillespie, Llano, Mason, and San Saba, a red flag warning in effect from noon until 6. High pressure is now over the southeast. There's a cold front on the way. That's the front that gets here tonight. But ahead of it, we'll have warm air, and we had warm air yesterday, 77 yesterday, 15 degrees above normal. Today, 86. That would be 24 degrees above normal. Most of our highs today will be in the low to mid 80s. What is significant about that 86? It will set a record. The record high currently is 83 in 1951. So we are clear now. We'll be sunny this morning. The cold front drops in this evening, should pass the Austin area between 7 and 8 o'clock, and then it's out of the area. It's going to be a quick hitter, producing no rain, no clouds either. We'll just stay clear overnight, and then a sunny sky forecast for tomorrow. Will be sunny on Tuesday, mostly sunny sky on Wednesday, partly cloudy Thursday, Friday, a little bit of rain on Saturday. Another front swings into the area on Sunday, leaving us with some very chilly air for Monday. But today, anything but. From the First Warning Weather Center, a southwest to west wind at 10 to 15 miles an hour. 86, the forecast high today under the sun. A clear sky tonight, a northwest wind after the front at 5 to 10, in the morning 47. 7-day forecast has us at 66 tomorrow. 40 for the low on New Year's Day morning. Midnight temperatures will be in the 45 to 49 degree range. Texas and Arizona State will kick off under a sunny sky, although the game is inside, but it'll be sunny in Atlanta on Wednesday. And then we just see scattered clouds Thursday into the weekend with low rain chances in the forecast on Saturday and Sunday. We'll be in the mid 60s on the whole to end the week and start the weekend, and then rise to the lower 70s on Sunday.
Okay, Rich, thank you. Turning now to a really big international story. 2 people survived a deadly plane crash in South Korea over the weekend, but 179 others died while it landed at an airport there.
2 others are unaccounted for. NBC's Megan Fitzgerald is in London tracking the search.
Good to be with you. Look, we're talking about an aircraft that was carrying 181 people before it crashed after its landing gear apparently failed. We do want to warn you that the footage you're about to see is graphic. You can see the moment that this plane started skidding down the runway before colliding into a wall and exploding into a massive fireball. South Korean officials say only 2 people were pulled alive from the wreckage. Everyone else on board has died. Flight radar tracking the plane's journey from Bangkok, Thailand to South Korea didn't appear to show anything unusual, but officials say a bird strike may have started the deadly chain of events, causing the pilot to issue a mayday warning. Investigators are searching for answers while rescuers are recovering the bodies of those who didn't make it. Officials are saying it could take between 6 months to 3 years to complete a full investigation. Back to you.
Devastating. Well, this comes less than a week after another passenger jet crash, killing 38 people on board. That plane was headed to the Chechen capital of Grozny, but instead crashed into a field. Airlines said that the jet crashed after experiencing physical and technical external interference. However, an official statement on Saturday said that the air defense systems were firing near Grozny due to a Ukrainian drone strike as the plane attempted to land on Wednesday. It stopped short of saying the plane was shot down by Russian defenses.
Linda Lavin has passed away, a Tony Award-winning stage and TV actress. She passed away yesterday after complications from recently discovered lung cancer. She became a role model for working moms in a show called Alice, where she played a widowed mother with a 12-year-old son working at a roadside diner. She was 87 years old.
This is KXAN Sports, brought to you by Thomas J. Henry.
Good morning, all. Happy Monday. If there's one thing the Dallas Cowboys do not like, it is the Philadelphia Eagles, among other things as well. Example, Washington and the New York Football Giants. The opportunity for the Cowboys to play Grinch a day ago and maybe ruin some NFC East hopes for the Philadelphia Eagles. Exciting for them, says Cavante Turpin. He says, yeah, bring it on. Well, Philly brought it, and Philly brought it early. Cooper Rush, that's not who you're trying to throw the ball to if you're the Dallas Cowboys quarterback. It's C.J. Gardner-Johnson. He plays for the Eagles. He's running on the sideline, and that's worth 6 points. So not good for the Cowboys. The Eagles score early, but here comes Cooper Rush. Here come the Cowboys. Other side, they go to Jalen Tolbert. How about the response from Big Blue? And they tie it up at 7. Here we go in the here's a big touchdown here, from Kenny Pickett to Devontae Smith, and the offense really started to roll for the guys in Kelly Green. Kenny Pickett starting for an injured Jalen Hurts, and on this play in the second half, Micah Parsons knocked out Kenny Pickett of the game. You saw him hurt right there, but plenty of offense in the game for the Eagles, no problem for them. This a highlight/lowlight, not sure. 61-yarder in the fourth quarter from Brandon Aubrey, hits off the upright, but probably would have been good from about 70 yards. Man has an unbelievable leg. Not the best day for the Cowboys, though. They fall 41-7. Getting set for the Peach Bowl here in a couple days. Texas football arrived in Atlanta on Sunday ahead of the game New Year's Day. So much buildup of this showdown between the Longhorns and Arizona State Sun Devils. First year of this 12-team college football playoff. A chance to make the semifinals for Texas. More eyeballs than ever. People love talking about the Longhorns and specifically their quarterback, Quinn Ewers. And number 3, the junior, talks about what he leans on to stay focused during this playoff run.
I think my teammates, because that's what they deserve. We're all in the same situations. We all have stuff going on outside of football. But, we all decide to come here and come to the facility and practice each and every day, be away from our families, be away from our loved ones. And, we all have the ultimate goal of trying to win a national championship, and that's what everybody deserves. Everybody deserves my best, and I think that if you ask anybody in that room, or anybody in the locker room, that they'll say the exact same thing.
And both Texas hoops teams wrap up non-conference play with big wins. The men over Northwestern State and the women at home over UT-RGV. That's it for us. Easy for me to say. I'll send it back over to you.
Okay, Noah, thanks. Well, the Rose Parade in California returns on Wednesday for the new year. Really exciting stuff every single year, but it is relying on more roses grown outside of the U.S. this time around. That is because more frequent and extreme whiplash between hot and cold, wildfires, even mudslides, all making it tough on California farmers.
Rose Parade started obviously as a promotion for Southern California. that people on the East Coast can't grow roses and flowers, and it was a way to really be a booster for Southern California. Obviously, that's changed now. There's less flowers grown in the United States.
Now just about all of the parade's roses are packed on planes and flown in from South America. Kind of like bizarre to think about, actually. Catch the Rose Parade, though, here on KXAN on Wednesday morning. That is starting at 10.
All right, coming up, where in Austin, crews are patching a 15-foot wide sinkhole. And if you're listening on the KXAN Today podcast, good morning and thanks for joining us, or good afternoon at this point. We hope you can join us on air for that. By the way, you can always find our stories on KXAN.com.